Every woman was born with a divine assignment, but not every woman walks in it. Heaven responds not to gender, but to alignment. The realm of angels is not attracted to chaos, confusion, or rebellion. It is attracted to order, purpose, and divine clarity. The question today is not, are angels real? The real question is, are you the kind of woman they are assigned to protect? There is a kind of woman that makes heaven stand still. She doesn't chase applause. She doesn't need validation from man. She lives by principle, not pressure. This woman is not popular, but she is powerful. She doesn't live to impress. She lives to impact. The angels are not sent to pamper her emotions. They are sent to guard her destiny. You must ask yourself, am I one of those? There is a woman who has discovered her purpose. She has stopped comparing herself to others. She has silenced the voices that told her she was not enough. She has tapped into her calling, and she is running her race with discipline. Heaven protects her because she carries a heavenly assignment. She is not a wanderer. She is a woman on a mission. There is another woman, one who values purity. She understands that purity is not weakness, it is power. She guards her body like a temple because she knows she is not cheap real estate. She knows her worth is not in her curves, but in her covenant. Angels surround her because her vessel is sacred. There is a woman who prays not only for herself, but for generations yet unborn. She speaks into the spiritual realm with the language of faith. She knows how to kneel before God so she can stand before giants. She's not just a woman of prayer, she is a woman of fire. The enemy cannot touch her because angels war on her behalf. Then there's the woman whose faith makes no sense to others. She believes when there's no evidence. She worships when there's no money in the account. She praises when her heart is breaking. This woman doesn't waver. She doesn't need proof to trust God. She just needs a promise. And angels are dispatched to keep her from falling. Another is the woman who respects God's order. She knows the kingdom operates through alignment. She does not rebel against divine structure. She honors her leaders, covers her home in prayer, and walks in submission, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Angels protect what is properly positioned under God. There is a woman who has learned to guard her heart. She does not let offense fester. She does not let past pain control her future. She has been wounded but not defeated. Her boundaries are strong. Her mind is renewed and her spirit is full. Angels stand at the gate of her life because she has given no place to the enemy. And finally, there's the woman of courage. She speaks truth in love. She confronts evil with boldness. She walks alone when she must and stands firm when others fall. She does not follow the crowd. She follows her convictions. She is a warrior wrapped in grace. And heaven fights for her because she fights for righteousness. Now I ask you, dear sister, are you one of those? Are you the kind of woman that makes hell nervous and heaven attentive? You cannot fake it. You cannot dress it up. This is not about appearances. This is about alignment, authenticity, and assignment. Become the woman angels protect. Not just because you need protection, but because you carry something worth protecting. When you understand who you are, whose you are, and why you are here, you won't chase angels. They will follow you. You were not born just to exist. You were born to manifest purpose. When you rise in your divine identity, you won't have to ask for protection. Heaven will already be on watch. So rise, woman of destiny. Heaven is watching. Hell is trembling. And your angels are already in position. You said, a woman aligned with divine purpose. Expand this in 300 words without headings and don't add ending remarks. ChatGPT said, a woman aligned with divine purpose is not moved by trends or the applause of people. She is rooted in something deeper than ambition. She is grounded in assignment. Her life is not random, it is intentional. She understands that before she was formed in her mother's womb, she was known, appointed, and set apart by God for a unique calling. This understanding gives her clarity, direction, and confidence. She does not waste time chasing opportunities that look good but do not align with her purpose. She discerns what is for her and what is simply a distraction. Her decisions are filtered through the lens of destiny, not desperation. She is not in competition with others because she knows her lane. She doesn't need to imitate because she has revelation. Her confidence is not arrogance, it is authority. She walks with grace, but she moves with strategy. Her relationships, her investments, and her time reflect a life submitted to divine direction. She wakes up each day with intention, not just to survive, but to fulfill something eternal. She listens for God's voice, even when it is inconvenient, because she knows obedience is the currency of progress in the kingdom. This kind of woman is dangerous to the enemy because she is not easily, she is anchored in identity and vision. She doesn't need external validation because she has internal conviction. Her alignment with purpose gives her a level of protection that many do not understand. Heaven backs her because she is on heaven's assignment. The enemy cannot derail a woman who knows where she's going and why she's here. When a woman is aligned with divine purpose, she becomes a vessel for impact, a force for change, and a target of angelic protection. He said, a woman who walks in purity, ChatGPT said, a woman who walks in purity carries a power that cannot be bought, imitated, or corrupted. Purity is not weakness. It is strength under discipline. It is the deliberate decision to honor God with her body, her mind, and her spirit. This woman does not conform to the patterns of the world, nor does she compromise to gain attention or approval. She knows that true beauty flows from within, from a heart that is clean, a conscience that is clear, and a soul that is surrendered. Her purity is not just physical, it is emotional, mental, and spiritual. She has learned to detox her life from bitterness, jealousy, and lust. She refuses to entertain what contaminates her peace. She walks with a quiet confidence because she is not driven by the need to prove her worth. She has already settled that with her Creator. She understands that purity is protection. It sets boundaries that preserve her identity and her dignity. She does not give herself away to anyone who cannot recognize her value. She is not impressed by charm or status. She is drawn to truth and integrity. Her standards are high because her calling is high. She does not lower them to fit into rooms that were never meant to host her destiny. Because she walks in purity, she attracts the attention of heaven. Angels are drawn to places that reflect holiness, and her life becomes a sanctuary for divine activity. She lives a life that God can trust. Her prayers carry weight. Her worship carries fragrance, and her presence carries peace. The enemy may tempt her, but he cannot touch her because she has set herself apart. This kind of woman is rare in a culture of compromise, and that rarity makes her a vessel worth guarding by angels. You said, a woman of prayer and intercession. ChatGPT said, a woman of prayer and intercession is a pillar in the spirit. She does not merely speak to God, she communes with him. Prayer is not an activity for her, it is a lifestyle. She knows the power of her voice in the throne room of heaven. She rises early or stays late, not for show, but because she knows that battles are not won in the physical first. They are won in the secret place. She doesn't just pray about her problems. She prays for nations, for leaders, for families, for strangers. She stays in the gap when others sleep, and heaven recognizes her cry. Her intercession is not emotional noise, it is spiritual legislation. And when she speaks, the heavens respond because she speaks the will of God back to him. She is not swayed by what she sees. She is anchored in what God said. She understands the authority of prayer, so she uses it with precision. Her prayers shift atmospheres, silence storms, and open doors. She has learned that intimacy with God gives her insight, and insight gives her influence. She is a watchman on the wall, a guardian over destinies. She discerns beyond the natural and picks up burdens that don't even belong to her because the Spirit trusts her to carry them. When people around her are in crisis, they call her not for gossip, but for guidance. She speaks with wisdom because she has spent time in the presence of the wise one. The enemy fears her because he knows her words are not empty, they are fire. The demons scatter at her whisper, not because of her volume, but because of her alignment. Angels are assigned to this woman because she aligns herself with heaven's agenda. She is not just protected, she is partnered with the divine. Her prayers don't just reach heaven, they release heaven. You said, a woman of unshakable faith. ChatGPT said, a woman of unshakable faith lives by conviction, not convenience. Her trust in God is not based on how good things look, but on how great God is. She has learned to believe even when she cannot see, to stand even when everything around her is shaking. Her faith is not built on feelings. It is built on revelation. She may have cried, she may have suffered, she may have been betrayed or overlooked, but she still believes. Her belief is not naive. It is anchored. She has history with God, and that history has taught her that He is faithful even in silence. When storms come, she doesn't panic, she prays. When delays happen, she doesn't quit, she waits. Her life is a testament that faith is not about avoiding the fire, but walking through it without getting burned. People around her often wonder how she holds it together, but they don't see the strength that comes from her intimacy with God. She doesn't just quote scripture, she lives it. She doesn't just attend church, she embodies the kingdom. Her faith has scars, but it also has roots. This woman moves mountains, not by force, but by belief. She declares things before they manifest, and heaven moves to honor her words. She doesn't just believe for herself, she believes for her family, her future, her community, even when they can't believe for themselves. Her faith is contagious. It stirs others to dream again, hope again, and trust again. The enemy tries to shake her, but she cannot be moved because she is planted on the rock that does not fail. Angels surround her. Not because she is loud, but because she is loyal to the promise, to the process, and to the provider. This kind of faith draws divine protection because heaven defends those who dare to believe against all odds. You said, a woman who honors God's order. ChatGPT said, a woman who honors God's order understands that alignment is greater than ambition. She does not confuse freedom with rebellion, nor does she see submission as weakness. She recognizes that divine order is not about control, it's about covering. This woman walks in authority because she first learned how to walk under authority. She respects spiritual leadership, not because it is perfect, but because she knows God honors those who honor His structure. She knows that peace flows where there is order, and confusion thrives where there is rebellion. So she chooses structure over chaos, alignment over independence, and obedience over popularity. This woman submits her life to God first, allowing His word to govern her thoughts, emotions, and decisions. She does not use her gifts to elevate herself. She uses them to build the kingdom. In her home, in her ministry, in her workplace, she operates with honor. She understands roles, timing, and boundaries. She's not in competition with men or other women. She's in agreement with heaven's blueprint. She doesn't try to manipulate outcomes. She trusts the process and the God who designed it. Because she honors God's order, heaven backs her. Her humility attracts grace, and her obedience invites angelic activity. She does not have to force open doors. They open because she is in position. She doesn't have to fight battles that belong to God. He fights for her because she has chosen to stand where he placed her. Her life becomes a channel through which divine favor flows, not just for herself, but for everyone connected to her. Angels are drawn to order because order reflects the nature of God. This woman becomes a place where heaven feels at home, and as a result, she is protected, preserved, and positioned for divine manifestation. You said, a woman who guards her heart. ChatGPT said, a woman who guards her heart is one who understands the value of her inner life. She knows that everything she does, how she loves, how she leads, how she lives, flows from the condition of her heart. She does not allow bitterness to take root. No matter how deep the betrayal, she does not allow offense to build walls around her spirit. She has learned that vulnerability is not the same as being unguarded, and sensitivity does not mean surrendering to emotional chaos. Her strength lies not in how much she feels, but in how well she filters what she feels. This woman is intentional with her peace. She protects her atmosphere. She watches what she consumes, what she listens to, what she entertains, who she allows close. She doesn't allow everyone access, not because she's arrogant, but because she's wise. She knows that not every voice is worthy of influence, and not every relationship is meant to stay. She discerns when to open up and when to walk away. She lives with boundaries, not walls, boundaries that protect her joy, her clarity, her wholeness. She has surrendered her emotions to God, allowing him to heal what was broken and restore what was lost. She doesn't react from pain. She responds from wisdom. When others try to provoke her, she stays rooted in peace. When life presses her, what comes out is not rage, but grace. This level of emotional maturity is rare, and because it is rare, it is fiercely protected by heaven. The enemy can't easily gain access to a guarded heart, and angels are stationed at the gates of her soul. God entrusts her with more influence, more revelation, more authority, because he knows her heart is safe ground. Her strength is in her stillness, and her power is in her peace. You said, a woman of courage and conviction. ChatGPT said, a woman of courage and conviction does not wait for the crowd to agree before she stands. She is guided by truth, not trends. Her convictions are not situational. They are spiritual. She does not compromise her values to fit into environments that are misaligned with her identity. When others are silent in the face of wrong, she speaks. When fear tells her to sit down, she rises. Her courage is not loud or boastful. It is steady, rooted in her knowledge of who she is and whose she is. She is not reckless, but she is bold. She understands the cost of standing for what is right, and she pays it willingly. This woman does not shift with public opinion. Her standards are anchored in the Word of God, not in emotional preference or cultural pressure. She is not controlled by what others think of her. She is driven by what heaven has spoken over her. She does not follow convenience. She follows conviction, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it isolates her. She chooses righteousness over acceptance. Her yes to God is louder than her fear of rejection. She is not rebellious, but she is not passive. She confronts darkness with light. She walks into difficult spaces with authority and grace. She doesn't need a platform to make impact. Her life itself is a statement. She does what is right, not for applause, but because it pleases God. She has wrestled with fear and doubt, but she did not let them win. She stands because she knows that to sit down in compromise is to step away from purpose. Angels surround her not because she seeks danger, but because she dares to stand in dangerous places with unshakable truth. Heaven defends her because she defends what heaven values. Her courage shakes atmospheres and her convictions ignite change. You said, right conclusion with a strong message. ChatGPT said, so I ask you today, are you one of these women? These are not ordinary women. These are kingdom women. Women set apart, women marked by heaven, women whom angels are assigned to God, not because they are perfect, but because they are positioned in purpose, in purity, in prayer, in faith, in order, in wisdom, and in courage. They have chosen a different path, a higher calling, and because of that, they walk with a different kind of covering. The world may not understand you. You may walk alone, misunderstood, and even resisted. But heaven knows your name. Your life sends signals into the spirit realm. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are watched over by divine presence. Hell trembles when you rise because you are not walking in your own strength. You are walking in alignment with the King. This is not the time to shrink. It's the time to rise into who God called you to be. It's time to guard your heart, protect your purpose, and walk boldly in purity and prayer. When you live as one of these women, you don't just survive, you shift generations. You don't just exist, you carry kingdom authority. So, woman of destiny, are you one of those protected by angels? If you are, walk like it, speak like it, pray like it, live like it. Because heaven is watching and backing every step you take.